But let's get started and officially welcoming everyone who's on board at the moment to our first LeagueSmart workshop, online workshop. And my name is Sean Stewart, and I have recently just joined NZRL as the LeagueSmart manager. So taken over the role from Harley Wall, who did a great job. So I'm doing an extension of that in the injury prevention space. So if you got an invitation to come to this workshop, it'll be because you're either you've registered or enrolled in either LeagueSmart online course or a coaching course or a manager's course or anything that we have online. So welcome everyone, and I hope that you get a bit out of it. So tonight's workshop is on the benefits of massage for preparation and recovery, and we're joined by Ari Carroll, and I'll introduce her shortly, but we'll just go through a few things to make this workshop run smoothly, and also so that everyone can get the best out of, or the most value out of tonight. So again, we do thank you, or I do thank you, everyone, for joining us, and hopefully we can get the ball rolling. So I've done the welcomes. What are these workshops and why? So these online workshops, we're just bringing every month. So there's going to be one every month, and it's just going to be an extension of what we're doing. Actually, what I'll do, what I forgot to do, some bit of room keeping. Everyone can just mute themselves.
No idea who's behind the mask. Luckily, we have some people here to help with that. It's the usual suspects.
I think we've got there. There we go. Cool. I think I fixed it. So yeah, obviously, you don't need to be on video at the moment, but if you want to put a video on, your own video on, that's cool. But yeah, just make sure that you are muted for now, and we will be able to get along with the discussion. There are going to be opportunities, and what I really do encourage is any questions that you do have, please ask through the chat, via the chat box. If you're unsure of where to find that chat box, just move your mouse and it should be at the bottom of your screen, and there should be a little box, little speech bubble with chat underneath. Click on that, and that'll bring up the text box on the right hand side of your screen, and just ask any questions there. Cool. So yeah, what are these workshops? They're just an extension of the core things, the core courses that NZRL currently providing online, and obviously face-to-face. So an extension of your coaching, managers. We are going to be looking at trainers courses, reinvigorating the trainers courses this year. So keep an eye out for that as well, for a foundation trainers course. So all of these are just to help further learning, and hopefully you find us as a reliable base to find information around your community and how you can extend from there. So that's why we're doing this. How people were invited, as I mentioned before, we have started off just with an exclusive sort of group. So the link that you all would have received would have been through email, and that would have been just because you have been enrolled in online course with NZRL. So again, thank you very much for that. And there'll be more coming on that platform as well. So what else have we got here? So how we came about the topics, I just quickly introducing these things, is we do have feedback forms on the LeagueSmart course, and a lot of that feedback has come back with some suggestions of further learning, and this online learning is workshop is part of that, furthering that. So so just any comments or anything like that, just make sure you put them in the chat. So that's enough of me talking. Hopefully you won't get too bored with me talking. I would love to introduce, and I'm going to just let someone else in, sorry, before we go, and I'll unmute her, is Ari Carroll. Ari, welcome.
Hello. Hello from cold Wellington.
Cold, windy Wellington.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So welcome, Ari. And Ari and I actually have done a bit of work together, or I played in some one of Ari's teams when she was up here in Auckland at the Papakura Eagles. And so that's how I first was introduced to Ari. Ari, do you want to just sort of explain a bit of your background? I know we spoke on the phone that I was going to do that to you, but do you want to tell sort of everyone that's tuned in a little background about yourself and what you do?
Okay, well, I was really hoping you were going to do that because I'm not really great at talking about myself, but here goes. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's nice to be here and involved in this with Sean tonight. So I've been a physio for 18 years now. I started off in rugby. Didn't really like it that much because rugby's, it's rugby. Moved over to league and worked with Otahu Leopards, and then went over to Howick. And then Papakura, and I've helped out at quite a few different teams as well. Mangere East, sort of been around a bit in terms of physioing for league and covering lots of other physios. I also have done counties Stingrays, counties women's, New Zealand residents, New Zealand Māoris. So quite a few teams in the league arena, which has been really awesome. I would say that league is my preferred sport to do, although now that I'm getting older, I don't like being out in the cold and the wet anymore. So I'm moving indoors. I've got a bit of background with New Zealand basketball as well. I did the Tall Ferns, the women's basketball team, for about 5 years. And went to a couple of Commonwealth Games as well when they went to Gold Coast and we won a bronze medal. That was pretty awesome. And what else have I done? Oh, and my most recent thing that I've been up to has been looking after some netball. So I've been involved with the Mystics, the Stars, and also their feeder teams. And now that I'm down in Wellington, I am helping out with the Pulses feeder team. I mean, it'd be nice to, get back into maybe that ANZ level, but having just had a baby, I'm pretty happy just chilling a little bit as well. So I've worked pretty hard for a lot of my physio career, so it's quite nice to have a different focus for a change. So that's me. And Chris is one of my old patients. I can see him on here. He's probably rolling his eyes at me right now.
He's waving his hand up.
He misses me because I used to do needles on him all the time. Now he's got.
He's shaking his head. He's not happy with it. No, cool. Well, welcome, Ari, and thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated. It's good to see you again. Yeah. So hopefully, team, those of you that are watching, you can take a little bit out of this tonight around our topic, which is massage. So let's get stuck into it, Ari, and then what we'll do sort of in between, team, again, just a reminder, if you do have any questions, please just pop it in the chat, and we might even bring you up to ask a little bit, or put your hand up. There's also a button here where you can raise your hand as well. So we'll make sure that we try and give everyone, or we try and give people that opportunity to ask questions themselves. Ka pai? All right. Well, into the guts of it. So we're here. I guess, Ari, in terms of massage, are you able to talk to us a little bit more around what are the benefits of massage?
Right. I think for me as a physio, like a lot of people think that physios are just massage therapists basically, and we do a lot of massage, and that is part of game stuff as well when you're working with a team. So it depends on what you're wanting to get out of the massage, but also what time you're doing the massage. So if it's a pre-game massage, the benefits of that are quite different to if it's a post-game massage. So if I go through pre-game first, so first things would be you just basically helping to warm up your muscles. It could help with tightness and cramping, which is quite important for some of those people that do a lot of running and jumping, especially the wingers and stuff. It's got really good benefits to help with stress relief. So say if you're someone, or someone in your team that gets quite anxious before a game and gets sort of like really wound up, massage can actually help them to dampen that down, and then they focus on their performance rather than the anxiety that they're feeling related to their performance, which is always quite good. It can help to stimulate your lymphatic system, so that system helps to get rid of like your lactic acid and your fluids throughout your body so that you are able to work more efficiently. We've also got joint mobility, can help loosen up your joints and help with your flexibility. Decrease your chance of injury, which as a physio is pretty important. I mean, to be honest, in my league teams, I generally didn't do much massage pre-game because we had the luxury of having a masseuse with us. So, but definitely having the benefit of having someone there to do it, and that injury prevention is real key for that. And all of this stuff leads to maximizing your performance pretty much. So if you're maximizing your performance, you're going to feel better, play better, hopefully win all your games, maybe not.
Yeah.
And I think probably one of the big things that I've found over the years with massage is just that psychological aspect. There's always somebody in a team that needs a massage before the game. Always, like they've always had their back massage, or they've always had their calves done, or whatever it might be. If they need that to play good, then I'm like, that's fine, that's what you need. Although in saying that, I'm not going to be massaging 17 players because they all need a massage, if you know what I mean. But because they would do that if they could, of course.
Why is it always the wingers in the team with the guys with the girls with the flash haircuts and the flash boots?
Well, because they think it's going to make them run faster.
Well, does it?
So
That's probably a question.
Wow.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think for some of them it probably does, especially if they're prone to getting cramps, because I know like quite a few wingers in my time have gotten cramps and stuff like that. But it's not just the massage that helps them through that. It would be making sure they had Powerade and chippies on the side to have at halftime, or a banana or something that's added into that. So it's not just purely the massage sometimes, even though, once you touch them, they feel better. So that's always good.
Yeah.
And then for the post-game recovery, a lot of that is to help get rid of that lactic acid. I talked about the lymphatic system. We want to try and get rid of all the waste that the muscles and your body has produced from your game, so then you recover faster. So then by the time it gets to sort of Monday or Tuesday, you're ready to go again at your maximal performance that you need to do at that time.
Yeah. So you're saying sort of post-game. What sort of time frame are you talking about post-game in terms of massaging or training?
It would depend on how many people you had to do. So if I had, say if there were 5 or 10 guys that needed a pre-game massage, that would take up a lot of time. But remembering as the physio, I'm also doing the strapping probably. So I wouldn't probably be able to get through that many anyway. But if you had a masseuse there, which is obviously amazing, they could do as many people as you wanted. And if it was me doing it, I would be prioritizing the people that I thought needed it. So say if someone had come back from a back injury and they were coming back and it was sort of their first or second game, I'd probably prioritize them more over the winger that just wanted a calf rub because he might cramp.
Yeah, cool. I think you've just I was just looking at our chat. There was a question there: how do you prioritize who to massage and for how long? So
time wise, it's all depends on how much strapping you have to do and how many people, and but I mean I've been still massaging people while they've been warming up, or while the team talk's happening, you're still doing stuff. So sometimes it's just ongoing until the game actually starts, and even then you might still be doing someone on the sideline if they needed it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're sort of you mentioned a few things there around the benefits of massage. We've talked about sort of the performance could be improved. Stress relief, you were saying, and sometimes it's a routine thing for some people. And I guess talking about that, do they become lower down on your priority list if there are people that are coming back from injury, as you said? Or
definitely. Yeah. Even though they think that they need it, and they probably will feel better if they have it, but somebody that's been injured that might need that time, it would be for me more of a priority, because if they don't have that time in that say 5-minute window of massage, that could be the difference with them getting re-injured and not getting re-injured. Because maybe they're just at that sort of 95% of being back to normal, and they just need that back loosened up or that calf done, and that's just going to get them through their first couple of games back. Some people, surprisingly, some league players don't actually like massage. and they will never want you to touch them, which is that's pretty awesome, but highly unlikely.
Okay, no, that's cool. So we talked about when it's, I guess we've touched on when is a good time to do massage. So you've also talked about, so we've talked pre-game, but also really important or can be important for recovery in terms of flushing out all your lactic acid and things like that post-game. So and I know we'll probably touch on it a little bit later in this workshop, but if you don't have a massage therapist or an awesome physio like yourself, is your self massage going to be beneficial?
Good enough?
Yeah.
Honestly, anything is better than nothing.
Yeah.
In terms of when it comes to that massage, and if you can do it yourself, that's going to save you having to wait in line for the physio or whoever's doing it. Plus, you potentially taking somebody else's spot that might need it a bit more than you. So in a perfect world, everyone would be able to use a roller, use a trigger ball or a massage gun or whatever you had available. But obviously, like different teams, some people have that stuff at home, but they wouldn't want to bring it to the game. So they just, they leave it for their own recovery and things like that. I've found over the years that the more stuff that you have, the more tends to go missing in terms of like your rollers and things like that. Like someone will be like, oh yeah, I'll just use that. And then you go to the end of the game, you're like, I don't know where that went. Like 7 people used it and I can't remember who had it last, and someone's just chucked it in their bag and you never see it again,
Yeah.
Or they might do that on purpose, who knows, but
No, that's cool. I was just looking at a question which I think we've got, there could be you've touched on it already. The question is, we have the same 2 players cramping up at the back end of games. Will the massage help them get through without cramping?
depends what the cause of the cramp is as well. Like, is the cramping because they haven't drunk enough water, had enough sodium before the game, or not had the sort of a good meal beforehand, and that's the cause of their cramping? Or is it just pure muscle tightness? Because if it's just muscle tightness, then it should theoretically help them get through, but they still need to have done the other things as well, because you can't just get a massage and not cramp if you haven't eaten well and you haven't drunken any water and things like that. Yeah. So it's a bit of a combination.
Yeah. So if they're eating or getting their hydration right and eating right sort of during that week, or at least the couple of days before, that's going to help them as well, eh?
Yeah. And I always, if I had someone in the team that was prone to cramping, they do have magnesium cramp pills that you can get. I would have try and get the manager to get a couple of bananas to have on the side, because just like half a banana is good, or even like a small packet of chippies, just has a bit of sodium, potassium in it, to get them to eat it at halftime. It's kind of weird to be like eating a packet of chips at halftime, but hey, if it gets you through and it means you don't cramp, then that's awesome.
Yeah. And if you're staying out on the field, that's good, eh?
Yeah, that as well.
Perfect. Just on this last sort of point is, when would you advise not to use massage? And what sort of periods are you advising not to massage?
From a physio point of view, if you're injured, that first sort of 24 to 48 hours, you should not be getting anything massaged. So say if you roll your ankle on Saturday, you don't want to be going and getting anybody to, stomp on it, do the island massage, anything like that. And that first sort of 24, 48. The other thing that comes with that is, as we know, league is a social game, and quite highly likely that there might be a few beverages passed around after the game. Now, if you add on a massage and alcohol to an injured body part, then you're actually slowing down the repair and the healing of that. Yeah. So those would be that pretty much that 24 to 48 hours, and trying to promote not doing that stuff.
Yeah. And then that's something that I sort of wanted to highlight, because there is a bit of, sometimes you do get maybe a soft tissue injury, which is, you get a knock, or you're pulling something, or what about and you feel like you need to rub it out sometimes. So you're sort of saying just hold tight for the first 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah. So say if someone got like a cork to their thigh or something during the game, and they're like, oh, I just feel like it needs a rub. Like that's the perfect situation that you can rub something, because they're still quite warm then. So you can just give it a bit of a rub, and that will just help to get rid of some of the swelling around it. But then once they're finished and cooled down, we don't want to be going back, because basically we're going to be re-damaging the tissue that's already been damaged if we massage it too much in that first point of time.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Any other times where you wouldn't sort of prescribe massage or anything like that?
For me personally, no, not really. That's pretty much it. Unless, that person has just been an idiot and wants a massage every single week, 5 minutes before the game starts, I'd be telling them to nicely go away.
That's good. We just did have I'm not sure if you can see the chat part, but any chips in particular that you were talking about? Just really salted or?
Really salted's the best. Yep.
Really salted. So there you go. Really salted. We're going to go through the different types of massage. Yeah. So you and I've sent you through some information about different. I mean, there's deep tissue massage, there's sports massage. You could probably say a few other types of massage. Do you want to sort of elaborate on the differences and the benefits and why you would use them?
So you have, I mean, I would just call it massage generally. I think if you look online, they would call it Swedish massage or a classic massage. And that's basically a nice, soft, relaxing massage. So some people might like it like that, but generally if you're doing it for like pre-game, you probably want a little bit firmer. That would probably be my choice. If I was doing a post-game sort of flush, it would be quite nice. If I was doing it, it would be like sort of like soft hands, sort of cupped. So imagine, I don't know if you guys can see, sort of I've got my hand like that. If I'm massaging somebody, I would be sort of doing those kind of sort of soft strokes like that versus like, really getting into them. So that's sort of your classic massage. And, like some people like it like that. I remember when we did a bit of work with the Kangaroos league team as massage therapists when they came over, and one of the guys liked to get tickled at the end of his massage. So there you go. Like everyone's different. He would get us back down and he'd be like, can you just like tickle my back for 20 seconds? Like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, I'm serious. Like, okay, up to you.
We won't out him on this.
No, let's not. He's a Queenslander, so I don't want to do that to him. So that's sort of your classic massage. And then for me, deep tissue and sports massage kind of go together. So if I was going to a sports game or league or whatever, for me, if I'm giving someone a massage, in my mind, that's a sports deep tissue massage. But if I was going to get a massage myself, I'm just going to get a deep tissue massage, because it's not sort of in that sport arena. Yeah. Some people would say different physios would say different things, but that kind of, for me, that's an interchangeable word. And in terms of your deep tissue massage, you're getting in there hard. It's forearms, elbows, not trying to hurt people, but sometimes trying to hurt them, but in a positive way, not like I'm trying to hurt you so you can't run. It's like, okay, you're super tight there, we're going to get in there quite firmly. And people, they will tell you if it's too much. And like when you're with a team, you get to know the people that like a little bit softer versus the ones that like it a little bit harder and things like that. So that's probably the main thing, is if you're doing it as the manager, the physio, the masseuse, you get to know what people like. Deep tissue would be more beneficial for the pre-game stuff as well, because you are getting into it a bit more, trying to loosen up those tight parts. And then you've also got trigger point release. That is basically where you're trying to find the knots in the muscle, and then you're going to push onto those knots, and you're just going to hold it until it gets released. So if really I just
not good.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, but you know what? Those trigger points, they can cause a lot of tightness within a muscle, and if that gets released, and that releases the whole tightness in that whole muscle group, so that's going to make you obviously be able to run faster and perform a bit better, because you're not being tightened up by a really painful trigger point.
Yeah. So just on that, and obviously there's going to be people that are tuned in at the moment that want to help out their players with some massage. With that trigger point, I'm personally interested is finding those knots. Is that just running your sort of hands over the area that they're feeling a bit tight and then waiting for them to say ouch, or are you feeling for something?
It would be a bit of both. If you didn't have if you weren't experienced in doing massage, then that would be the best way, because you'd just be like, oh, just tell me if, so if I'm just doing my arm, just tell me where it's sore. And if they go, oh yeah, it's a bit sore there, but you will feel, it feels like a little gristly lump in the muscle. And then once you find that, you push on it and you push on it hard and then they go, oh, it actually feels better now. It usually takes about 10 seconds or so, sometimes a little bit longer, depending on the muscle and sometimes how much body fat they have around that muscle, because it can be a little bit harder to get into it if they have a bit more body fat.
Yeah.
Like traps are a perfect one, like that you can just, like, everyone could just do it themselves. You can just, if you felt your traps and you can feel like a little gristly bit on the top of your shoulder, if you push on it, it makes your neck feel nice and loose and stuff like that. So the more experience you have at feeling the body in terms of your massage, the better you get at doing it, and you'll be able to pick that up. Like, you might be like, oh, okay, and I'll just, there's a knot there, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize that was sore until you've just been pushing on it. And then they feel better after.
Yeah. We've got a question coming through. Can you be over massaged, especially when it gets to deep tissue?
Yes. Yeah. So deep tissues is, I don't want to say it's damaging the muscle fibers, but it's getting into them in a way that it can cause a bit of micro tearing. And so what we wouldn't want to do is, you wouldn't want to get a deep tissue massage like every day of the week, because that's just going to be sore, because you don't have enough time to recover in between. But if you're getting one once a week, then that would be fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And I guess just around that that part off, if you're seeing a physio or a massage therapist, sort of how often would you need to go to see some benefit? I know that's a pretty broad.
Yeah, it depends. In terms of physio, it depends on the physio, because not every physio wants to do massage, if that makes sense. So I'm quite a hands-on physio myself, and I like to do the massage as part of my treatment, but other physios might not touch you at all. So it depends on the physio in that aspect. Sometimes it depends on how much it costs for a session, because that, like, financially, that can be quite limiting if you're going for a massage. And same thing with a massage therapist. If I had to give a prescription to people, if you could get in once a week, like on a Thursday, Friday before the game, then you should be getting some benefits by the time that game comes around on a Saturday.
Oh well, so it actually hangs around for a fair bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you're doing all the right stuff as well. Like, you don't want to get a massage on Thursday and then go out drinking and then try and play on Saturday. We're talking about the whole thing is, like, you don't just train on Thursday to play on Saturday. It's sort of the build up of the week, each week, as the season goes along. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's cool. So we covered just on that part, that second part of our sort of conversation. We were going through the different types of massage. So you mentioned the sweetest massage, or sort of the normal massage, which is your gentler type. That's how you would put it? So it's just your normal massage. And that's particularly good for post recovery, because it does have that effect, and it helps flush out any of the nasties or the lactic acid and anything else that's built up in the body. Probably good to relax as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, nice. And then you talked about the deep tissue or the sports massage. That is really getting in there, and as much as the person being massaged can handle, and it's trying to release a lot of the tension within the muscles. Would that be right? Yep. So good for particularly pre-game, and even you mentioned if you're getting something on a Thursday or a Friday, you should be able to be getting benefits for game day Saturday. Cool. Anything else you wanted to mention on the different types of massage?
Yeah, I don't think so. A lot of it just depends on who the person is and what they like as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I can see we've got a couple of questions in the chat, but we might go on to our last part, team. I know that there's some questions coming through, so again, just encouraging anyone to ask any questions within that chat space, if you need to, and we'll answer them as we go. But the next part of this sort of online workshop was going through some of the devices, or so we've talked about different types of massage, but we might look at some of the devices that we've got that we can use for self-massage. So we've been talking a lot about having a physio or a massage therapist there, and they'll generally know what they're doing.
You'd hope so.
Yeah, but let's go on to some of the self-massage, which interests me, because that's I mean, I've got a foam roller here. You can't quite see it. Got a foam roller, got the massage gun, got a few massage balls as well. But I actually just do it, and I'm just watching other people. So I'm interested to, from your perspective, learn actually how can we use them effectively. And we're probably using them, right? Yeah.
YouTube is wonderful.
Yep.
In terms of like, it has like the best sort of foam roller demonstrations and things on YouTube. I mean, you can really find anything online now, but YouTube, yeah. If that's what you've got, then definitely you want to YouTube that and get as much out of it as you can. In a perfect world, everyone would have everything available to them. So, me as a physio, I wouldn't need to do any of that stuff. In terms of traveling with teams, so say if I was away with a team overseas, I would probably take a massage. I would usually take my massage board, or a spiky ball, trigger ball. I've also got one of these, which is a massage stick. So you can hold it on the ends and just roll with it. You can use a rolling pin out of the kitchen drawer. It gives the same sort of effect as one of these things and is a bit cheaper. Yep. I've also got one of these, which is a handheld roller you can get from the $2 shop. Yeah,
I'm sure that's not your baby's toy.
He's playing with it now. But yeah, you can just hold it, and I mean, it doesn't quite give you as much as what it would if you got a proper massage. I think the main thing with them, if you're gonna invest in buying it, then you really need to know how to use it properly. Mm-hmm. The trigger balls and things like that, I mean, same thing. You can find like really good information online about how to use them. But if you stick it in a body part, like a trigger ball, if you sit on it, say for instance, on your butt, or you roll it with your calf, you can even do like your back and your shoulders on the wall and things like that, you're going to get some good relief out of it. A lot of things that stop people from using it is because it's sore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're using, say, a roller, for instance, along your IT band, which is the outside band of your thigh, most people will stop doing that because it's more painful to do it because you've got all your body weight onto that body part. Versus if you go to a physio and they do it, they're not going to stop. So they just do it until you cry, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then afterwards you feel better. But because you're doing it yourself, you're more likely to stop when it gets uncomfortable. But that's when you should be pushing through it because you're actually getting something out of it.
Yeah. So yep. You go.
Sorry, and I was just going to say about the massage guns. Massage guns are so awesome if you can afford them.
Okay. Okay. Cool. What's awesome about them? What do you?
The thing I like is you can control the tempo of it. It's got the different heads of a massage gun. So depending on what body part you're getting into, so if it's something that's a little bit smaller and in a niggly area, you can get like a different head that will get into that a little bit more. Same thing though, it's painful, so you will stop when it gets a bit uncomfortable. And it also controls like how hard it is. So you've got the sort of softer settings, which are kind of like, oh, that feels really nice and comfortable. And then once you get it into it a bit more, you start doing it on those body parts that really need it. That's not that nice, but that would just be the same as if a physio was doing it to you. But you just have that luxury of being able to do it yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And what things like the massage gun, is that going to help you post training or post game?
Yep.
Is it still going to have the same effect or similar effect as a normal massage? Trying to flush.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'd probably tend personally to maybe use a roller post game. I just feel like it's a bit more comfortable because you're not really looking for that hardness after the game. Because a massage gun, even though it's a soft thing, like if you've got a small head on it and you're trying to do your quad, well, that's going to take you ages to do like the whole quad, and you just get tired and bored and then you don't do it. Whereas if you're on the roller for sort of 2 minutes lying on your tummy and rolling yourself up and down on it, you know it's done, and you've got some good relief out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people want to spend their Saturday night massage gunning their whole body, but you never know.
Awful performance and recovery. No, that's cool. So foam rollers, I guess, and what one of my questions, and I see it when I talk to people, when I Google things. Foam rollers, are we just rolling over the top of are we just rolling over the top of the muscle that needs to be done, or are we holding on a tight spot? What sort of a protocol that you think is beneficial?
I would do both.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and
it depends on your pain tolerance as well. If you can't handle the pressure, because that's basically, if you're holding on one of those tight spots, that's like a trigger point release. Yep. So if you can't handle that amount of pressure, then just rolling over it would be fine. But if you can, then you're going to get good benefit out of it.
Yeah, cool. So the take-home message is, with any of those devices, or things, tools, massage tools, that's better than saying devices, is they work, use them, and it's around pain tolerance. Would that be right?
Yeah.
About how much you can and I guess adjusting how intense that is up to you, and you can go longer if it's less intense. Is that something you cool? All
Definitely.
Right.
The thing, probably the only downside that you have with a roller, say compared to a massage stick, for instance, is you have to pretty much get on the ground to do it. Whereas a massage stick or a trigger ball, you can still do it sort of sitting up. You could stand against the wall and use it, especially the trigger ball. And not everybody is like, oh, I just can't be bothered getting on the ground, so they just throw the roller in the corner and never use it again. Whereas you can sit and watch TV and use the ball and use the stick and things like that. So a lot of it's convenience as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And I guess to everyone that's tuned in, I have got this recorded. And what we will do, or what I will do, is I'll make a summary document as well and share that with everyone around some of the points that have been made tonight. So just so that you've got that in writing, and you've got a copy of that. And if it all goes wrong, we can all blame Ari. No. I did put down on our structure sort of other things like Shakti mats. Are you comfortable with sort of commenting on them, or is it something that you're aware of?
I personally don't. I've used it a couple of times. For me, it's too much for my tolerance of it, because with those mats you have to be on them for a certain amount of time to sort of get that benefit, that sort of local benefit with the muscles. I know lots of people that love them, but me personally, not so much.
Okay, so again,
and if someone had them, I'd be like, wow, yeah, use it. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
Cool. What we'll do is I think that's probably rounded up sort of what we were going to cover, and now we're going to we'll throw it into the chat room now. There's a few that have polled up, a few questions.
Okay.
And then what we'll do, whānau, is if you're brave enough and you want to have a little kōrero with Ari, we've got about sort of 20 minutes to do that. Let's cover these in the chat. And then if you do have a sort of a question and you want to come in and chat with Ari live, we'll go with that, eh? So let's go through the chat room first and make sure we cover any of these questions. So here's one. How do you massage a stubborn injury affecting the knee?
Depends what the injury is. So whoever asked that, can they talk to me? And we'll see what we can come up with.
Yep.
Kia ora, Ari, that was me that asked that.
Hello.
Hi. So I have a friend who has pain in her knee and it's ongoing. and she does martial arts. Yeah, so I'm just wondering how I can help her.
Do you know what the injury is? Do you know, has she got a diagnosis for it?
No. Is it probably better that I get her to get that diagnosis? Or?
Yeah, I probably would to start off with, because it could be like, depending on where it is and stuff like that, it could be a number of things, and martial arts is quite repetitive as well. So it could also be a technique thing, perhaps.
All right.
Not saying that her technique isn't good, but it might just be something that needs tweaking, and it could be just putting extra pressure onto that knee joint. Yeah, but I would definitely, if she could get to a physio and just even get a diagnosis, and that will tell you a lot more about what's going on, and then whether you can actually help it or not.
Yep. Thank you.
No worries.
Cool. Thanks for that. The next one was, should you request from the physio for a massage? Should you request from the physio?
If you're Chris McMillan, yes. Anybody else in this chat group? No. It really depends. Like, it really depends on the physio. Like, if you came in to see me and you were like, oh, you know, I've got this thing and I'm pretty sure I just need to give it a rub, you know, like you still have to go through the assessment of what it is and actually find out what it is first. And if I decide that you need a bit of a massage on it, then I will sort of say, okay, yep, I think you're right. You know, let's give it a bit of a loosen up and see what happens. But like I say, not every physio is like that. And like, I've just started working a couple of months ago, and I know one of my physios that I work with, he needles everybody but does not massage anyone. And he has really good outcomes, but he just looks at things in a different way. Whereas if I saw them, I would be more likely to do something hands-on. Yeah. But the worst thing you can do is go to a physio and go, I just came for a massage, because if you say that, they're going to be like, get out of here.
Okay, that's the tip there. That's the golden nugget there. When dealing with relationships with a physio, make sure you butter them up right. We have another question. Tournament week. So in tournament week, what sort of massage and how much?
What are we massaging for? Is it just tightness? Is it for injury?
Jacko, let's see if Jacko's still around. Jacko, are you still in there, bro?
I am actually. Yeah, I guess a bit of both. Obviously, you might have played 3 or 4 games, so soreness would be the major thing, I'd say.
Yeah. If you were just doing like flushes, say if it was like a leg flush, that would be fine every day. And you probably, depending on how many people you have to do, sort of 5 minutes per person on whatever they decide, because some people might be like, oh, my quads are worse than my hammies, or my back is sore. So in terms of tournament week, like flushes would be best. But if you're trying to do like lots of deep tissue, I probably wouldn't do that every day at a tournament week. You might need one day of it, or maybe 2, but I wouldn't want to do them too close together either. Does that help at all?
Yep, we got the thumbs up. Perfect. So so I guess just on that, it's your priority would be just making sure that recovery is right. So you sort of would advise some massage if it's just a 5-minute flush. Yeah,
and it depends on how, you know, like, so how many people you've got to do and stuff like that. If it's just you doing it and you've got 20 people, that's going to take you all night to do it. So if you can encourage your other recovery things like compression tights, ice baths, lying with legs up the wall, compression socks, all that sort of stuff will save you from having to actually physically do that.
Yep. So in tournament week, adding lots of all the combinations of recovery is going to be pretty key, along with nutrition and rest.
Yeah. And probably one of the main things in those kind of tournament weeks that, especially if they're like younger, like, you know, like teenagers and stuff like that, they want to stay up all night chatting, being on their phones, or doing all that sort of stuff. The number one thing they can do that week is get some sleep. Because as the week goes on, that you know, they'll accumulate that fatigue, which then is going to affect them on the field.
Yep.
So I always try to tell people in those sort of situations, you just need to, you know, you need to get some sleep. Sleep is your number one recovery tool in a tournament.
Yeah, cool. Is there a particular time limit to spend on massage? I.e., do you have different time limits for calf muscle versus shoulders?
Nah, not personally. Like not if it was in a sports setting. If I was in the clinic, you just based on however your appointment times you have. But if it's at like pre-game stuff, it'd just be however many people you had. Maybe I'd probably say a good 5 minutes for each, depending on what they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not sort of there for 10, 15, 20 minutes on the same spot. By then they've probably got no more skin left. Okay.
They should be running that real fast then.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's this probably segues into this nicely. Any particular oils or creams you use?
I prefer a wax. So we use we use TUI waxes, and my last job in Auckland we also had a company wax. So it starts off quite thick, like a moisturizer, but as it warms up, it becomes more oily.
Okay.
So if I was doing a pre-game stuff, I would try and use myself like a wax, and then I would also maybe, depending if they want a deep heat on it, and you can mix it together, because deep heat doesn't actually rub that well if you're using lots of it. Otherwise, like some baby oil, cooking oil, like something that's gonna like move smoothly over the skin is what we're looking for. The other thing got to remember is like types of hair when you're massaging, because like some people have really coarse hard hair and it's quite hard to massage them through that, so you'd need to use a lot of whatever you're using to try and, like, I don't want to say lube them up, but that's pretty much what you're trying to do, so that you can move your hands and get an exfoliation at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, so on that wax, use a wax type.
Yeah, wax or oil, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Gee, they're coming through thick and fast now. Is there a priority over stretching and massaging? Is there a priority? Would you prioritize?
I think that in terms of injury prevention, stretching is always going to be better than massaging, if that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I mean, the research now shows that the dynamic warm-ups are the way to go in terms of like you've got the Rugby Smart, the Netball Smart, all the stuff that ACC has brought out. Yeah. And most teams hopefully eventually will end up doing that in terms of Rugby League as well, from the grassroots all the way up to the prems, and it becomes just something that gets done. So yeah, for me, if you had to choose, you'd always do your stretching first.
Yeah.
Massage is a luxury, basically.
Yeah. Cool. What's your thoughts on compression garments post-game or for the bus trip home? Good or bad?
Excellent.
Excellent. How many do they get the big thumbs up?
Especially if it's over, say, like, I mean, traveling around Auckland, sometimes you can get stuck in traffic for an hour. If it's going to take like an hour or more before you get home, the compression garments are going to be the key, because once you get stuck in traffic, or if you're driving from Hamilton to Auckland for a rep game or something, that's a lot of time on your bum after you've had a game. Yeah.
And that's just keeping the circulation in your muscles. Would that be right?
Yeah. So we're trying to compress them so that we're trying to help get rid of that lactic acid. So it does a similar thing to like a flush massage. Like, I think if I remember when like the skins tights came out, everyone was like, oh, you wear these are what you wear the socks and it'll make you run faster. And the theory behind it is, yep, that's true. Like calf socks are so tight that they stop your muscles from basically any excess movements. So then your muscles are being more efficient, but they're really designed for that post game to try and help get rid of it, recovery, get rid of the lactic acid, and make you feel better afterwards.
Cool. We've got Arnie says, Sean, I love my Shakti.
Nice.
We've got one more here, team. In terms of injury prevention, based on your experience, even for those who are healthy, where should we focus the massage? The most common places to massage?
I would probably go, if I'm just thinking about like at the moment in my netball team, I seem to have like more people that want their calves done for some reason, just a lot of jumping and change direction. Generally in league, it's a lot of the backs, hammies, and quads. And same thing, it's quite person specific.
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of exactly what, but like if you go to someone, what would you like massage today? There's always going to be something that's going to be real tight.
Yeah.
And I would just go off what they're presenting with instead. But then if they're like, oh, I don't know, just everything. Be like, we really, we've got 5 minutes. You need to pick what you think is more important. And like, say if they're injured and they've got like an injured knee, you'd be like, well, right, we're going to do your quad because that's going to be more beneficial for your knee.
Yeah.
For instance, but yeah, it is quite individualized.
In a league sense, and if someone was presenting to you physically fit, no injuries, and would sort of your shoulders or sort of hips, a lot of people tight in the hips, would those be sort of areas that you would say are pretty common? Sorry, that should be my question.
Yeah.
Shoulders and hips.
And glutes is another one that I used to do a lot of as well with league, like just trying to loosen up people's glutes, because your glute is one of your main muscles that helps with your power and stuff. So if you're a bit tight in there, it makes your hammy tight, makes your back tight. So if you can loosen that up a bit and get them firing a little bit better, then that's going to obviously have a better impact.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We've just got one here popped up. Given the news article out of Otago Uni last week in terms of recovery, ice or not post-game?
Personally, yep, always.
Yep. So you're doing the hot colds?
Depends on the setting. If you've got an ice bath available, that's always better because you just do sort of a 3-minute ice bath and then you're done. If you've only got showers, quite often those showers don't do hot and cold in the league setting. I've noticed they either be hot or cold. So you kind of work with what you've got. The research around ice recovery it's changing pretty much constantly. Like there's always something new coming out, and a lot of it depends on, as the physio, what you have had experience with and what that works. So it just depends on what, and also what you've got available. Like if all you got is a shower, that's what you're going to do. You're going to do a hot cold. If you've got an ice bath available, then that's what you do. If you can go to the beach and get in the water and do like an immersion in the seawater for a couple of minutes, then that's what you do.
Yeah. But in terms of hot or cold, you're saying yes.
100%.
And what is that doing? I sort of have an idea of what that's doing, but can you sort of tell us what that's doing?
Similar to the like the compression and the flush massage. It's just trying to help basically compress all your blood vessels, and by doing that, it helps to get rid of the excess lactic acid and all the nasty stuff that the muscles have made over the course of that time. So if we can get rid of it faster through your systems, then you recover faster and then you're good to go faster.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Well, I've got 26 minutes past 8. What I will do is I will leave. There's an opportunity for one more question. If someone wants to unmute themselves, if you've got something that's really wanting to be answered, we'll open the floor up. Just make sure you unmute yourself and throw the question out there, and we'll go from there. But in the meantime, Ari, thank you very much for your time, and thank you much for your expertise and sharing your knowledge. 18 years in physio, and I know with all the sports that you've been doing, involved with league, netball, basketball, and being within there for 18 years, and rugby, sorry. You've got a wealth of knowledge that you've just shared with us, and it's really appreciated. And hopefully I might be able to get you back on board with us for another one, maybe sometime. So what we'll do, team, is we'll finish up there. But just before you do leave, just remember that because you're already enrolled or registered with our online learning platform, that you will receive emails, updated emails, inviting you to further workshops. The next workshop we've got is we're going to do a tackle workshop. It's going to be a bit of a Q&A around that as well. So that'll come up in the next month. But again, thank you very much, everyone who tuned in. Ari, thank you very much for your support and for your knowledge. Yeah, anything you'd like to, what's your parting shot? Have you got a parting shot? Been working on your Michael Roberts parting shot?
If they want to be tickled, tickle them.
So do what makes them happy, eh?
Pretty much.
All right, Whānau. Hey, thank you very much, team. We'll finish it there. Remember, I've got this recorded and I will work on a summary resource to send out to everyone who attended.